Do you hear the roar? The roar of the lions? The Cannes Lions? That's right, Cannes Lion season is approaching, and as the creative world gets ready for it, we're asking a question that'll raise some ears. Is Ogilvy the best ad agency in the world? Or are they just the best at winning shiny trophies? Today we're talking Cannes Lions, we're talking about what legacy really means, and we're talking about the heavyweight champ of advertising, Ogilvy. But before we get into it, be sure to support the show by giving this episode a like, leaving a comment, and of course, by subscribing. This is Ziggy the Designer, the show where we talk about the world of graphic design and the people who make it move. Design is all around us, so we might as well talk about it. Before we talk awards, right, before we get into the Cannes Lions, let's talk some history. Let's talk about Ogilvy. Ogilvy is not just some legacy agency coasting on a name, right? This is the house that David Ogilvy built. And yes, that David Ogilvy, the one that you learned in your advertising classes in college, right? And this is the man who literally wrote the book on advertising. I mean, he has a book called Confessions of an Advertising Man. He wrote on advertising. He pioneered brand positioning, research-backed messaging, and long-form ad copy. This man turned copywriting into strategy. And the client roster of Ogilvy is crazy, right? We're looking at Dove, we're looking at Ford, American Express, Guinness, IBM, Unilever, S.C. Johnson, right? These are institutions. And their success isn't just limited to the past, right? They aren't just limited to, the old school advertising days that your creative directors and agency CEOs talk about. Modern Ogilvy is a well-oiled machine. We're talking global offices, cross-discipline integration, right? They do brand, digital, PR, content, data-driven strategy, all under one roof. And they're really thriving in this digital-first, AI-infused creative world, right? They're not just an ad agency. They might be the ad agency. So now let's talk Cannes, right? Let's talk Cannes Lions, right? This isn't a local ad show where you win a paperweight for best brochure design, right? This is the Super Bowl and the Met Gala for the creative world, right? The Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity is where the world's best creatives, the world's best agencies, this is where they come to play. Thousands of entries, hundreds of categories with one goal, and that's to win a Cannes Lion. And if you win here, right, if you win at Cannes, you're not just good. You are the elite of the elite. In 2024, the Cannes Lions saw over 26,000 entries from across the globe. Less than 5% of those entries won a lion. It's cutthroat, it's high stakes, it's high cost. And guess who's consistently dominating? It's Ogilvy. Let me break it down for you. Right? In 2024, Ogilvy brought home 75 lions. They brought home 64 in 2023. And in 2022, they brought home a staggering 88 awards. That's the closest thing we have to a dynasty in the creative world. It's a 3-year stretch of creative dominance. And, let's put that into perspective here, right? Let's look at another agency considered a giant in this game. Let's look at Leo Burnett, Hall of Fame agency, right? Known for some of the most iconic campaigns in history. But Leo Burnett took home only 25 awards in 2024. And in 2023, they brought home only 30. Ogilvy didn't just outperform Leo. They doubled them up. At Cannes, one of the biggest creative stages in the world, arguably the biggest creative stage in the world, Ogilvy looked at the creative world and said, we run this. So based on Cannes alone, yes, Ogilvy is the best ad agency in the world. But what about the other side of the script, right? Let's flip it over here. Do awards even matter? Because here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. Awards are a business. You want to enter Cannes? Great. That's $1,200, $1,700 per entry. You want to enter multiple categories, right? You multiply that submission fee, and that doesn't even account for buying a flight or booking a hotel to Cannes. So let's get real, right? Are we celebrating the best ideas, or are we just celebrating the ones who can afford the entry fee? This is a pay-to-play system, and if you've got the resources, if you've got the PR team, if you've got the production polish, right, well, your odds of winning at Cannes are going to skyrocket. And this isn't a conspiracy, right? This is just the game that we play. And even Ogilvy, as dominant as they are, they play the game better than anyone else. They know how to craft case studies. They know how to package campaigns to look good for juries, right? And yes, they know how to win. But despite what all of your creative directors might tell you, winning at Cannes doesn't automatically make your work great. What really matters is cultural relevance, real-world results, and longevity. Nike's Just Do It campaign, it didn't need a Cannes for you to know what it is. Apple's 1984 commercial didn't need a trophy for it to become iconic, because the greatest campaigns, right, the greatest creative work, it doesn't just win awards, it wins over the culture. So here's where I land. Ogilvy is the best ad agency in the world. There's no doubt about that. If we're measuring by Cannes Lions consistency and execution. But there's still the question, right? Is the work actually good? Or are they just able to afford the awards? It's like asking, did Tom Brady win those Super Bowls for the New England Patriots, or was that the mind of Bill Belichick? Or is Lewis Hamilton that dominant of an F1 driver, or has he always been given really good cars? But what do you think? Is Ogilvy the GOAT? Do awards still mean something in this digital era, or are they just meaningless pieces of metal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to give this episode a like, subscribe, and share. I've been Ziggy the Designer. If there are 2 things you need to know about me, it's that 1, I love design, and 2, I'm very opinionated. I'll talk with y'all later. Bye-bye.